Hey y'all, this is Jessie with our latest episode of GunGals Live. We have a fun show planned for y'all and I'm excited to get to it. But first, let's run through our panel of lovely ladies. Tonight we have Armintha. How's it going?
It's super, super hot. It's ridiculous here in Texas right this second. Well, it's ridiculous where I'm at. We still don't have electricity.
I'm sorry, honey.
But otherwise, good. They could be worse.
We've got the monsoon and you've got the power outage. This is not good on either side of the
Nope.
United States right now.
Nope.
We also have Stacey. How's it going with you?
Everything's going good here. How's it going with you?
It's good. I feel like I'm in the middle of a monsoon. So if anybody out there can hear it, I'm sorry. It's raining really hard. If you would like to join the Gun Gals panel, we would love to have you. Shoot us an email at info@gun-gals.com for more info. Before we get started, we want to give a huge shout out to our awesome Patreon supporters, CloverTac, Ghost Tactical, GA Trucker, Angry Hay Cutter, The Gun Snob, and Gizzard Gary. Thank you for your support to Gun Gals. So on tonight's episode, we are going to be talking about self-defense as a whole, what items you use, how you feel about self-defense training, and awesome stuff like that. Are you ready to get into this, ladies?
Of course.
All right. So, I know that both of y'all work. We had actually had these conversations a few times. So, with self-defense and your job, what items are you allowed to take as to what items you're not allowed to have? I know that for both of y'all, you can't have your concealed carry. So what do you do to make sure that you stay safe? Let's start with you, Stacey.
Well, I work, basically with the construction crew. So I'm the only female, but I usually have tons of guys around anyways. I can carry my pepper spray. I can carry my knife. And I always end up having a utility knife anyways. So that I use for work. And of course I have my little tool bag that's got, hammers and little stuff in it. So I have all that. And there's nothing saying that I can't carry my gun, but with everything I do, it'd be kind of hard to bend over and do everything that I do. So I leave it locked in my car. But I am in the back part of Tulsa. We had, in 1 week, we had 2 shootings within, a mile of us. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah. One was probably half a mile, and one was probably about 2 or 3 miles from us. But so I always have my gun locked in my console, and stuff. I don't ever go to work without it, but but I usually have tons of stuff handy around, and the guys that I do work with, they're all, some are older, but they're mostly family, friends, family type people, so I have them as around as well.
That's awesome. Are you back with us, Armintha?
Well, it muted me, but yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I was getting worried for a second.
I am here. Yes, I am here.
Okay. So, were you in here when we had that conversation of what we're talking about?
Yes, I heard you.
Okay.
You want to know what I can carry at work for self-defense?
Yeah. Other than, you're really awesome right and left hooks.
That's funny. Actually, the only thing I'm able to really carry at work, I've got a flashlight that I'm able to carry that I did get approval for, that all the officers carry one about like mine. And pen. And I after taking my class, and we'll get into that. I didn't realize just how much a pen is like a huge weapon, but yeah. But my biggest thing was my flashlight and really, really kind of learning how to use it. So I'm limited as far as like anything that you ladies could carry, or especially Stacey, being able to go to work. Yeah, I'm really limited as to what I can carry. So, which is why yesterday was extremely enlightening. So, extremely. So, yeah.
Awesome. For me, I can pretty much carry anything because I'm usually at the house. But I have been looking into a place I would eventually like to get a job at, and it happens to be an indoor gun range. So I'm pretty sure I can carry there. But since TARDOT and I do not have our concealed carry permits for Michigan, I carry this little, it looks like a Felix the cat. It kind of reminds me of brass knuckles, but it's a little, the ears on it can be used to defend myself. That's pretty much what I carry. With trainings, what is your, hold on, sorry. What is your opinion of self-defense trainings? Is it for everybody? Should it only be because you need it for a job? What are your ladies' opinions on self-defense trainings? Let's start with Armintha.
No. Let Stacey go first.
Okay, Stacey, what is your opinion of it?
On actually taking a class?
Yeah.
Yes.
I wouldn't think I probably would consider it. I haven't really thought that much of it, but I have in the last, I don't know, few weeks about looking and taking and getting some more training. Because I wouldn't mind taking some more. There's actually quite a few things I wouldn't mind taking, like more of the bleeding control and redoing my CPR and doing some of the more of the medical stuff too. But yeah, I have thought about seeing what self-defense courses we have around here. And stuff, but maybe some firearm training on top of that. So yeah, I have really been thinking about it. I mean, I know I looked up stuff for the medical, some of the CPR and stuff. I was looking up last night, and stuff. But yeah, I think it'd be something that everybody should, especially women should do and should learn it. And, if there's a time that I don't have anything with me, at least, be able to defend myself in a way long enough to get away. So, yeah, I'm all for it.
Before I get to you, Armintha, for me, I had to get some kind of training over a decade ago because of who I was dating. And I had friends that were instructors. And so I didn't actually have to go in with a group and take a class, but my friends were kind of feeling sorry for me that I was getting my butt kicked by a dude. And so I sought out getting some training to be able to defend myself. With that being said, I am totally rusty and I need to find some training for sure. How about you, Armintha?
I hadn't given self-defense training a whole lot of thought previously. I tend to have a very confident attitude and tend to walk very tall anyway, can stare anybody down. I tend to keep an eye on what's going around me anyway. But I recently had a thing happen at work, that an incident happened at work that scared the bejesus out of me. I'm safe. I'm fine. But things could have went horribly wrong, and it really kind of opened my eyes. And I really decided that I needed self-defense training, because I don't have I can't carry certain things into work. So that was a real eye opener for me. And then after getting into training, because yesterday was my first class, it was a real eye opener. I mean, it was like, it was very, it was like real world scary. When they talk about certain things and you realize just how vulnerable we can become and in certain situations. There were realizations that I had yesterday that were not good things for me. But what it brought me to really was something that they were talking about, because there were a lot of the movements that we did over and over and over again, and they were talking about muscle memory, which is just like, and I talk about Ghost Tactical a lot, because he really is all about, we should be training. You know, if we conceal carry, we should be training because it's muscle memory. Well, when your adrenaline is rushing, if it's something you practice and you train, you've got that muscle memory, so you're going to go ahead and do it. Where when your adrenaline's rushing and stuff, we tend to lose our those fine motor skills and stuff. And there are things that we would normally be able to do, but when all that adrenaline's rushing, you're not able to do those things, or your brain isn't thinking just exactly the way it normally would. So to be able to practice, even for me to be able to practice things when I don't have my concealed carry weapon, but I have like my flashlight or I have an ink pen. But to do those trainings and do them repetitively, that way my body gets to where I remember how to do it. It's that muscle memory thing. It was really eye opening, and the way everything kind of fits in I think it's something every woman should do. Every guy should do it at least once. Depending on where you work, you may do it. I mean, it may be something that you need to do every year. I mean, they're offering these classes like once a month. And because of my scheduling, I won't be able to go every month. But I'm going to start going to these classes because I feel it's extremely important. So.
Absolutely. Now with you talking about doing it, once a year or something like that, is it more of finding different types of those classes that kind of have a broader spectrum than what you did the previous year, or going back and doing the same classes over and over just to kind of retain that memory of it?
I think it really depends on you and what class you find and feel comfortable taking. Because I'm going to tell you that for me, I mean, I could go into a class and this instructor is not going to be a perfect fit for me. Where yesterday got really emotional for me. And
Mm-hmm.
I had several episodes where, I mean, I had tears running down my face. I wasn't like bawling or anything, but I mean, it was emotional for me. Um, and I just kind of stepped back, and they never once called you out. They never once point you out, because they know most of the women that are in these classes
I've
have
been through
been through.
something.
Exactly. There's a reason we're there.
Yeah.
And so I think finding the class that fits you and for what you're needing is important.
So one of the things that I like about self-defense class is it kind of goes through and it breaks down and tries to prepare you mentally. It tries to prepare you emotionally, and it tries to prepare you physically. Now, with certain situations, it's going to be harder to focus on the physical part when there's emotional or mental issues with why you're taking this class. But I think what they do really helps a lot of women and men out there. In the class that you did, was it hard for you to um, focus on the training?
For me, was it hard for me to focus on the training?
Yes.
Um, um, no. Um, at first it like really hit me. It really hit me what I was doing and why I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And then then it got into um later on, that this whole group of ladies, I mean, we're all there for a reason. And like I said, um, we're all so supportive of one another and the instructors. I mean, when you're doing something and they are, they're like, you've got really awesome leg strength, and they tell you what you're doing right, or they suggest you should be doing this maybe a little differently or something, and they high five you. I mean, they're encouraging you to keep on and stuff. So that made it really easier. Now at the very end, and I'm going to share this with y'all because it was really a big deal for me. At the very end, I had this really big realization, um, that if I ever get knocked down to the ground and I can't kick them away enough for me to get up, it takes me a little bit longer to get up. Um, I'm not a small person. I'm smaller than what I used to be, but I'm still not a small person. So, uh, this was a big deal for me yesterday. And being especially where I work, it really hit me. Like, if I ever get knocked down, that that could be it. So at that point, I'm already thinking, okay, so I already need to I'd already started back on my diet this week before I went to training. So I'm already in that brain mode of that I need to continue what I'm doing, um and I need to start working out, and I need to start doing this because this is my life. This is how I save myself. And something is me being able to get off the ground is a big deal.
I have a quick question.
I'm totally there with you. Go ahead, Stacey.
All right, for someone like me that has like, really bad back issues and stuff like that, because I noticed like even just at work when I'm, you know, down on, the ground, either cleaning the floor, getting stuff off the floor, you know, talking around the outlets and stuff, you know, sometimes getting up is a little difficult, not because, you know, being overweight, but because of my back issues. So how is it, you know, the training and all that for someone that has issues with, you know, their back or knees or, you know,
The,
some type
the,
of injury like that?
the thing I would tell you is that letting your instructor know your limitations or whatever is what you need to do with that.
Yeah, because that'd be my first worry. And, you know, if I was to do, if I was, you know, and seriously, if I was to do self-defense, I'd probably, you know, throughout the year, go do some type of weight training, um, stuff like, you know, that kind of stuff to go along with it to make yourself stronger.
It was, I totally see that and agree with that. Um, and that's kind of the point of the class, though. Them teaching you how to be aware of your surroundings, um, keeping your head on a swivel. Um, don't get that tunnel vision. Don't be in your phone all the time. Um, you know, keep your head up, look around. Um, that way you don't get in a position where that could be what happens. So, I don't think any trainer would ever put you in a position where you could get hurt as far as training. But
Yeah.
again, the whole point of the training is in hopes that they're training you well enough, or giving you the tools, that you can keep yourself out of that predicament anyway.
Yeah, and I do try and be more observant. Like, you know, like I said, I work in the bad part of Tulsa. So anytime I go anywhere, I'm always, you know, looking around at the people around me. And then, like, even when we went to Indy, when we stopped at that pawn shop and you know, I was still outside and I told him to go inside and stuff. And it was, you know, sketchy part of town it looked like, but you know, I was still constantly watching in the window, see where he was at and watching around me and stuff, and just, you know, not on my phone, not doing any of that stuff. But yeah, so I do tend to be a little more observant, maybe not too bad like in places that aren't sketchy, which I probably should be like that everywhere. But I mean, bad things happen even in, you know, decent, you know, places. But I know I definitely for sure do it in sketchy places.
Hmm. So, um, I think and this was just one class. It's a series. I think it's a 4-part series. And this was just, I want to say this was the second part of the series, and I didn't make the first because I didn't know it was a class that was available. What was amazing to me is that after going through the incident that I went through, I later found out that where I worked, they used to offer self defense training for um, non uniform staff, such as myself or secretaries and things like that. And for whatever reason, they don't do that anymore. But no one seems to tell you about that either. That it might be a good idea or something that you might need to look into or should think about or anything. But one of the things that they gear towards too is use what you have available, which is, it wasn't part of this class, but that's going into some of the other classes too. Is if you don't have, like if you can't carry or whatever, you know, they talk about what's around you that you can use. And I mean, they just picked up random things around them, just kind of giving us an example of what could be used as a weapon, to protect yourself, to fight someone off if you needed to. Now, in my particular instance, me being extremely loud, I had help within a matter of seconds. And I had like 5 people there, within a matter of seconds, just me being super loud, which was really which was really awesome. Excuse me, but still super scary. And then my biggest thing is that when something happens, you always hear the whole, well, if it were me, I would have done this. If it were me, I would have done this. And I actually asked them about that yesterday, and they were like, when the next time somebody says something to you like that, actually do whatever happened, do it to them and see what their reaction is. Of course, I really don't want somebody to hit me, so I don't know that I would ever do that.
That's okay. I'll just get in front of you and I'll throat punch them, and then, we'll see what they do.
There you go.
I got you back.
Even from Michigan, right?
Even from Michigan. More so because I'm in Michigan.
There you go.
People out there, don't make me drive to Texas, okay? Just behave. Yeah, I think that we need to have a lot more options. And Stacey brings up a good point about having certain limitations, having trainings that, kind of go more towards those that have had injuries and stuff that limit them from being able to do certain things. And I think that would be awesome. Let's see, where was I at?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I know one of the biggest things, and I don't know if any of you saw that or not, because I did post pictures from my training yesterday on my Instagram and on my Facebook and stuff. The biggest thing they talk about is, protecting your head, protecting your brain, because you never want to get, knocked unconscious or lose consciousness, because, that's extremely important is, so you want to keep your hands up. And they called it an Una loop, which is something that they covered in the first class. So that was still kind of new to me. But, where you're always thinking, well, if this happens, this happens. If I do this, I do this. You've always got a chain of events. And so everything just kind of goes in a circle and it just keeps going. It never stops. So you want to keep up with stuff like that too, that you want to keep an eye on things, that if something changes, and keep looking behind you. Just because there's something in front of you, you don't neglect your back or your sides. Did you find what you were going to talk about?
I did, but my phone is blinking and freaking out on me right now. Let's see. May have to hop out and restart my phone if it doesn't let me back to where I'm supposed to go.
I did post in the chat to see if anybody has any questions. So,
this is crazy. Hold on.
Did she drop out?
No, I'm here. I was looking up. After a while I was here, I was looking up some self-defense, but most of what I'm finding is like martial arts and some of them. I'm still looking. I was just looking at that real quick, but I'll do some research on it and see what's available around here that's, not like, taking Tai Chi or, some type of martial arts. I mean, that would be cool, but.
And that's what I like about self-defense training classes is you don't have to have any kind of martial arts qualifications. You don't have to have any kind of history or background in MMA or any kind of martial arts. You don't have to have a athletic body type. You don't have to have any of that. It goes for different ages, different backgrounds, all sorts of stuff. And so they kind of cater the classes to each set group. That's why I like self-defense, because it actually caters to you as a person and not what skill do you have at this time.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I was in a class with man, the girls had to have been my younger kids' age. So I mean, these were girls that were 18, 19, 20 years old, up to one that had to be at least my mother's age, if not older. So she was in her 60s, 70s, somewhere in there. So, I mean, our class yesterday kind of hit the whole age group. And what was really sad is the little old lady was getting up and down better than I was. That's what was really sad. But our lights are on.
Really?
Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
Our lights just came on. That's so awesome. Sorry.
I'd be running to the air conditioner.
Well, I mean, like oh my gosh, this is amazing. Oh, you don't understand.
I understand. We had that ice storm back in like 2007, and yeah, there's power outages everywhere. So I understand.
And don't get me wrong, I can get up and down, but most people that don't realize that I had a back injury and was actually bedbound for there were like 3 months where I mean I was bedridden basically. My husband has got something on where I hear myself in the background over here.
Hey, Mad Sexy had a question for you. It was, do they
Okay.
have a height or age? Do they have a height or age requirement?
For
No.
the
I guess for
self-defense
self-defense.
class?
I guess.
No, it didn't even come up when you sign up.
Yeah, because I know that they'll do self-defense classes for kids like my daughter's age.
Wow. Yeah, I saw something about somebody asking about boots.
Boots?
Oh, I think that might have been a whole different conversation. I don't think we.
No, well, maybe so. Maybe so. I was like, I'm a nurse. I'm not wearing no boots to work unless it's raining outside, and then I wear my rain boots. So, yeah, not gonna happen. I'm not wearing boots all day. Not for 12-hour shifts. Nope.
Now, with the training, did they go into the detail about, you've always got something around you, and even when you don't, like your shoes can be used as a weapon. If you're out shopping, your purse is now going to be used as a weapon. For certain situations like that, like someone tries to steal your purse or somebody tries to grab your ponytail or things like that.
What they went over, I mean, we went over a few things, but like I said, this is a 4-part series.
Okay, so it's more of focused on if the assailant actually had you knocked down to the ground and stuff like that.
Yeah, this particular one, we did a standing, pushing them off, full on, us attack and push away, and then and of course keeping our distance and finding an exit. Of course, with your eyes, on your attacker, because obviously you don't want to turn and not be able to see what's going on behind. Then I'm thinking, and then there was the whole, if you're knocked to the ground, or if you're on the ground, how to recover from that. Push off, because if you're beside them, you would push off to get your feet to where your feet are in front of you. You're protecting your face and your head, of course. Push them away, and then you be able to get up. And amongst all that, you're reaching for your weapon, whatever weapon it is that you've got. You would be reaching for that to be able to use that. To fight them off, or to shoot, or because there were women, trust me, there were women in the class that had their guns. There were women in the class that had pins. There were women in the class there was one that had pepper spray. I'm trying to think. Let's see, guns, pepper spray, pins, the Kubotons, and then I think I was the only one with a flashlight. So yeah.
The great thing about it is you could also use like everyday items, your keys. Someone tries to attack you while you're going to your car, have your keys.
Yes.
If someone breaks into your house and tries to attack you, if you're like me, you probably
I'm gonna use my new Banshee. I'm gonna use my new Banshee in.
Listen, pew pew faux show.
Sorry, I had to say that since you said that. For home defense.
If I'm in the kitchen, I may not have a Banshee, but I'll have a cast iron skillet and some knives. If you're out in a parking lot or at a store or something like that, y'all know I'm all about miscongeniality. You best learn to sing. You go stomach, instep, nose, and groin, and 9 times out of 10, they ain't gonna have a grip on you no more. I'm really hoping that Tardot will let me one day make a video of doing that maneuver, but I haven't been able to talk him into it yet. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good luck with that.
Yeah, it probably won't happen. But think of all of the subscribers and viewers we could be protecting if he would take one for the team and let me teach people how to sing. Or y'all can just go watch Miscongeniality, because that's where I learned it.
Something that was really interesting yesterday too, though, because using pepper spray, it kind of made me look at pepper spray a little differently yesterday. Because to be able to use the pepper spray that I have, it is a fine motor skill. And once your adrenaline is rushing, for you to be able to really do that, you run that risk of you spraying yourself as opposed to you spraying your attacker. That's a little scary.
Not thought about that before, because mine, I usually have it clipped to my keys. And of course it stays in my purse or it's clipped onto my purse. But listening to you say that is interesting. because I could honestly see having all the adrenaline and stuff and not paying attention to where my trigger's at and accidentally spraying myself. It's not like they make them super obvious on where it's coming from when, well, at least not on mine.
Well,
I could
now,
see that.
there is, and I hadn't ever seen one of these before until last week. And I'm looking at one right now, now that I have internet, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And lights. So, but I saw someone that I follow on Instagram who she can't carry yet. Because they're waiting for their concealed carry to come in. So what she carries is a pepper blaster, which looks like a pistol, and yet it doesn't.
Okay.
You would just have to look it up. It's the handle is smaller.
Okay.
But it would have a holster as if you were carrying a pistol. But it would spray pepper spray. Which
I like that.
Would make it, which would
very
make it
obvious of where you're aiming it.
Right.
I like that. I need one of those.
I see one where I'm looking at it, and it's a little over $40. The one that I see that what she had, and it's a Kimber pepper blaster, which is really, really cool. Like I said, I've never seen one. And then they've got a leather pepper spray holster that it actually goes into. And of course, one of the things that I had I didn't think a whole lot about it. It's been said to me before, but first of all, did you know that pepper spray actually has an expiration date on it?
I figured it was kind of like makeup and stuff like that. It's probably got maybe a longer shelf life than makeup. Because I know it's usually like 12 to 24 months. 24 months usually.
Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure how long it's good for. I just know that it's got an expiration date on it. But someone had mentioned, when you have one that goes out, don't just up and throw it away if it's never been used. Actually use your expired one and practice with it. Which is of course don't do it on a windy day where it's going to come back and spray you in the face. That would really suck.
Well, if I'm going to practice on it, can I practice on my husband?
Absolutely. I mean, no. You should probably not do that. Sorry, did I really just say yeah on here?
That wasn't very nice.
Sorry, my bad. I apologize.
Behave.
It's funny that we were talking about expirations. I've had mine apparently for a while because I just pulled it out of my bag and it says it expired December of 2016. And,
nice.
It's like 15 grain or whatever. 15 GR. I don't know. But that probably makes a little sense on why my son didn't really freak out when he sprayed it in his mouth. They probably are not going to be as potent.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, even talking about us talking about pepper spray like that, the same thing goes with a stun gun, and I can't remember Whichever one is one that we could carry, not the one that a law enforcement
Taser.
officer would. Is that what a law enforcement officer would carry? A taser?
I don't know. When you say stun gun, it just makes it sound like it's got the little prongs that shoot out.
Whichever one it is. See, I would have to look it up now.
The electric zapper.
Yes.
Mhm.
Like the one that I like what I use to tase. Um,
A certain someone in Tulsa.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The gun stop with. Um, that something like that right there. You don't think about it because it does have multiple buttons on it, or depending on which one you, and you have to slide it. One way you slide it is a flashlight, and the other way you slide it, it tases. And when your adrenaline's rushing, if you slide it the wrong direction, it obviously isn't going to do what you need it to do.
Okay, so a taser can be shot from a distance, so that'd be the one that actually you can shoot. And a stun gun requires direct contact.
Okay,
Okay.
so I have
So
a
you're
stun
right.
gun.
Yes. Tasers
That
would
makes
be
this
what
misleading.
law enforcement carry.
So I'm writing in my book, used on snob. Because, yes, I keep notes. Is he listening, by the way?
Probably.
I haven't seen him in the chat, so I don't know if he's just listening or he was going out to his office to work on some videos. So, but I haven't seen him in the chat. So,
since I'm giving him a hard time.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Anyway. But ultimately, yes, I suggest everyone who's able, men, women, everyone, do a self-defense class if you're able to, especially women. If you've got, it kind of makes me a little aggravated with myself that I didn't do it sooner. It also makes me a little aggravated at myself that I didn't make my girls go through it when they were in high school. So I think it's extremely beneficial.
Absolutely. So if Tardot's still in the chat, just know I'm going to be looking for a class. Actually, I might wait until I have the kids back and make them all three of us go take a class. Uh-oh. Hello. Hello. Okay, so apparently we're having issues.
I'm back.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think it'd be great to have me and the kids go take one of these classes, whatever. I think it'd be awesome. And it'd be great content.
And one of the things that they covered, I don't know a single one of us that doesn't go to Walmart.
Exactly.
Walmart parking lot is like one of the worst places.
That and IKEA.
I mean, something is simple, and this happened. There was one in our class, that went through an incident just over the past week, and that's why she was there. Putting her baby in the car, actually fastening her in the car seat, and then went to dig for her keys in her purse before she shut the door, and a dude shoved her in the car.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. She actually got away, but she just kicked and hit and made hitting the horn and scratching, and she was very lucky. But simple things like keeping your eyes open. Be aware of what's around you. If there are people, kind of lingering or, kind of watching or, you know, I know me, I get that weird feeling like, this doesn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
And I could be done and ready to go, but I may turn around and go back in. That's also where I've said I may get on my phone and talk really loudly or, or I may just say, hey, something's weird here. I just need you to stay on the phone. This is where I'm at. If something happens,
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. But things like that, or if you notice something weird, and especially with kids, you could, sometimes it's okay to just kind of put your kid in the car without necessarily buckling them up, and you get in the car, lock your doors, and then you take care of your kid if you need to. Me personally, if something's weird like that, I'm going back in. And that's part of that whole, well, I would have done this, or, and no one can really say that unless you're in that situation. You know, but I can tell you that people give you that creepy vibe, and you tend to kind of stay away from them. You're like, no, I'm going the other direction.
Absolutely. Listen to your gut feeling, those instincts, everything else, because more times than not, those are going to help keep you safe.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, this has been a really good chat, ladies.
I think so.
I'm really excited because now I've got to go find a self-defense class around here. Hello.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
I'm here.
Oh, well, we could go a little longer.
We sure can.
How are y'all this evening?
We're good.
Doing really good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
So
sorry for the late jump on. It's just been a busy evening.
Yes. No. So introduce yourself.
All right. My name is Ray Barron, owner and lead instructor for Freedom Defense Training and Consulting out of Tyler, Texas.
Ray was one of the instructors with the class that I took yesterday. So we've actually been talking for about an hour about how important self-defense training is.
Absolutely.
And I kind of shared with them one of the stories that you shared about the young lady putting her baby in the car.
Oh, yeah, Hannah. Yes. Yeah, at Walmart. Our joke is it always happens at Walmart because that's where most of our stories come out of. But, yeah, it shook her up quite a bit. But the good thing is she knew at least something to do instead of just laying there and doing nothing. She fought with everything she could to get him out of her car.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also one of the most vulnerable moments for a lot of moms out there is that moment when they're distracted by putting their kids in and they let their guard down.
See, and I could see that because I'm a Mimi, and when I put Addie in the car, I'm so worried, and she wants to do it herself. I do it.
Sure.
So then it takes even longer, and you're like, oh my goodness, I just want to go. I need to get in the car. Let's get this done. So, yeah.
Yeah, and some of the suggestions we give, and it's never, none of it's foolproof, but if you have that independent child, which we had one of those that need to get their own seatbelt on, their own, take care of themselves, at least while they're doing it, you could just kind of what we call stand post and stand guard and just keep your eyes aware of what's going on. Or worst case scenario, if you can, just get in the car and lock the doors while they do it. But I know that doesn't work for everybody's situation out there.
Right. Now, I was talking to them too because we were talking about different kinds of trainings and stuff that would be available to them and stuff. And
Hmm.
is it necessarily, how did you ladies put it? You were talking about it being some kind of kung fu fighting type training or something.
Well, it doesn't have to be martial arts
There you go.
qualified or have a background in martial arts. The great thing about self-defense is that it is anyone and everyone. Now, with the classes that you provide, is there an age limit? Like, how young is too young to start teaching self-defense?
Well, we've had probably as young as some as 6 years old, and it's just, of course, the class is accustomed to them, and we always leave it up to the parents. If they think their child is mature enough to come in and learn from us, then we don't tell anybody they can't do it. If it's not, it may not be having to actually worry about attackers out there, but just being bullied in school or being bullied by somebody and what they can do about that. So we've had them pretty young, and a lot of them do very well in it. And then just like anything else we do, some older don't do as well as some of the younger ones do. It's all about the maturity of the child.
Wow. One of the things, and I was bragging about y'all, because I had a meltdown several times yesterday, but
Sure.
y'all are aware that we're there for a reason, and y'all never single anybody out or point anything out like that. That that this is why we're here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and just encouraging us, to do what we can, and if we need to step back, that it's okay, because sometimes it gets real. Like, like in your face, real, can bring up things that have happened or what have you.
It could almost
Yeah.
be as a memory replaying in their head in that instance.
Absolutely. And I did behavioral interviewing for a number of years in corporate security, and to where I could actually read people. And that's one of the things I do during training. It's why there's multiple of us there. It's because I'm watching ladies, and even when we do men's classes or youth, I'm watching the reactions of certain drills that we may do or the circumstances we put them in, because there's triggers sometimes that can set somebody off. And if we don't catch it, to me, we're not doing our job as instructors, because I don't want to ever push somebody past the point they don't need to go. If they're not ready for it, they're not ready for it. And the ladies in my family, my wife, my daughter-in-law, they've been victims of violence. And so I know what it's like on the other side of it as well. So it's which actually drove me to become more of an instructor years ago. And so when we have ladies that have those moments that it brings a bad memory back, or maybe a trigger of a violent encounter, there's no reason to keep pushing through training. It's just good to step back, take a breath, recover, and then come back when you're ready.
It's like, and I was telling them, because I did step back yesterday. I stepped back a couple of different times.
Right.
And at the end, and that's part of what our stuff is. I didn't go in extreme detail as to what had happened to me, but yesterday, for me, a realization, that if I get on the ground, if I'm ever pushed to the ground,
Mm-hmm.
me being my size, and because of my history and stuff, it taking me a little bit longer to get up, it puts me in a very vulnerable situation.
Sure.
That was huge for me yesterday. I mean, really huge, especially
Right.
with where I work and stuff. That was a really big deal for me yesterday.
Yeah. And, you know, for a lady being on the ground it's vulnerable for most ladies that we meet. And what our goal is as teachers is to guide you through the process of, even if you're down there, it's not over. You fight till there's no fight left. And, you know, we discussed yesterday, from everything, things you can grab, to even your teeth are tools of opportunity if that's all you have in the moment. So the more you train, the more confident you can become in those of being on your back or being pushed in a car or being cornered in a room. You can at least have a confidence of knowing what is available to you and what you can do.
Very much so. Now, I was telling them that y'all, okay, so, because they were asking me extra questions, and I was like, well, this is all we really talked about in our class yesterday. But
Sure.
it's because it's a 4-part series, right?
Well, it's actually every month. So this is not, we started this 4 months ago. This is number 4 in the series. So every month, the third Saturday of every month, we do a 4-hour class with ladies only. And every time that we meet back, we refresh a little bit on the week before, and then we always learn something new. Like yesterday was being on your back on the ground. That was new for everybody.
Oh, wow.
So the next time we're going to focus on being grabbed and choked. We'll refresh on everything we did this month, and then we'll incorporate something else. Because you can't retain it all. There's no, you know, we do one-day courses, we do weekly courses, we do all kinds of different training. You have to continuously train and refresh to be able to actually retain those skills. And it doesn't have to be difficult. As you see, we're not into the fancy, cool guy stuff. We want practical application that you can do the moment you walk out the door.
Yes, and that's what I was that's one of the things I was sharing with them, because it was a big deal to me that it was whatever, like for me, it was what I was able to use at work, and a lot of the other ladies the exact same
Sure.
way. It's whatever they were able to carry for work.
Right.
And there was a wide range of things yesterday.
Right. Absolutely. And a very wide range of ladies.
That's what I was
right.
like. Yes, I was like, because there were girls there that had to be younger than my youngest daughter.
Sure.
Abby had to be 18, 19, 20
Yeah,
years old.
she's a freshman in college, just started college.
See,
Right.
and then the grandma.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm saying it that way, because I'm one.
No, but you know, she's I think she told me she was late 60s, maybe early 70s.
What did I tell you? I told them, I said she had to be 60, 70 years old, because she's close to my mother's age.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah.
And I believe that's her third class with us. One of them, it's her third class.
And got up and down off the ground better than I did.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, no, there were, we had talked about like the fine motor skills, and I couldn't say it the way y'all said it in class yesterday, so I didn't even try. Y'all were talking about going and running and then coming back and typing a paragraph or something.
Right. Right. So there's this scale we use in all of our training that, you know, it's just a heart rate scale. And if you're very familiar with it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But, you know, a normal heart resting rate for most people is around 60 beats per minute on average. Well, as our heart rate increases, different things start to work against us, like our motor skills, tunnel vision, auditory exclusion, even our processing of how that cognitive processing of how we make decisions. So what we do is we try to get people, just elevate them a little bit at a time in training so they can start to take control of those things instead of letting it control them. Because even calling 911 on your phone, if your heart rate is increased to 120, 140 beats per minute, with shaky hands can be very difficult. So there's ways to reverse it, but it's just training and time to be able to take back control of that.
You know, I can totally see that. I mean, I worked dispatch before and dealing with, you know, people calling in that are stressed, that are worried, that are freaking out, that, you know, you have to calm them down to even get out what they're calling for.
Right. Yes. Good example.
Oh, trying to think what else.
Well, I had a question. Well, I had a question earlier that I asked earlier.
Go for it.
Was like, for someone like me, I have back issues. I had back surgery in 2009 and still have re-injured my back and have some herniated disc.
Sure.
So how does that play into, you know, some of the things you guys do in class?
So what we do at the very beginning of class is we let people know, you know, you don't have to tell us, but if you've got any physical limitations, anything going on, you do it to the best of your ability of what we're teaching you. And if you need an alternative way of doing it, to just let us know, because a lot of people, even kneeling is painful if we have them kneel on the ground. So we'll teach them other things that they can do. Like she was saying, getting up from the ground was almost impossible for a couple of ladies there physically. And so we told them, you know, in training, don't do anything that's going to further hurt you, but you know your limitations, so let us work around that. It was really cool. A few months ago, we had a lady come. She's been in a wheelchair since she was basically a teenage girl, and she said, look, this is my life. I need to know what I can do. And she trained hard in that wheelchair, and we showed her everything she could do in reality. Because that's her reality. But we just kind of work around it. You know, as long as you let us know, we'll show you what you can do.
That's awesome. And I think that was what really, because I knew you guys did training.
Sure.
Because y'all have done training for years now.
Yeah.
But I didn't. After my incident, I knew I needed something. I needed some kind of training. And so I looked y'all up and it was all about, y'all even offer classes, personalized classes. Y'all have, yes, that like, if I tell you, okay, so this is kind of my situation. This is what I do. This is where I work. This is kind of what I would like to be trained, you know, in this type of situation. You would totally adapt for that.
Correct.
So,
that's one of what I love about teaching is literally every week for us is different. Tomorrow I have law enforcement, you know, I'm working with, and then on Wednesday and Thursday I have a group of, believe it or not, gymnastic students. It's a gymnastic school that's having me come in and work with their girls for a couple of days. And so there's,
oh wow,
I love it because I get to get with people in their environment, and we don't believe in a classroom in a box. We don't say this is it, this is the only way, this will work for everybody, because it won't. There's not one thing that will work for everybody. The only thing that works for everybody is situational awareness. Beyond that, you have to adapt to somebody's life. And it's like, it's the answer most people have, well, I carry a gun. Well, that doesn't work all day, every day for everybody, because very few people can. So you teach them other things for their environment. And you're right, the personal stuff is probably some of my favorite, because that's where people really start to understand their life and what they could do.
Yeah. So that was one of those things, and I plan on getting with you eventually on that.
Sure.
My life is a little, yeah. I've got a few things going on, but
I understand that too.
Yes, that's really awesome.
one of the things that I was telling them too, because to me, this is what I kind of compared it to. One of our YouTube guys that I follow quite a bit. He talks about firearm training and that you should train, and he does drills of the month and things like that to encourage us to get out and practice with our firearm.
Sure.
Talking about muscle memory, which is what I kind of compared your class to yesterday, because that's kind of what you talked about. So
Right.
self-defense is basically the same thing, whether you carry a firearm or not.
It's the more you do something, it's like any even with our job, the more we do it, the more repetitions we have, the better we are at actually performing that in the moment. And the rule of thumb in the training world, of even in mixed martial arts, in the fighting world and the gun world, you're going to perform at a lower percentage than how you train in real time. Even when I was in the military, I was in special operations, it was drilled into us of you train 150% constantly, and the hope in the moment is you perform at least 60% of that in a real-time event. So the more you do something, the better chances you are of actually surviving the situation and getting home safe, which is the ultimate goal.
Wow, because I've never heard it explained that way, but that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So, after I come to another class, I would love for you to come on again if and that way we could actually have a full show. That way I could let you actually do your whole, let you talk more and stuff.
Yeah, I'd let people ask me questions too. I mean, I'm always open for it. So.
We would love that, because I think most of our chat has actually jumped over to another show tonight.
Yeah.
I will be in Texas June and July. I may have to figure out one of those months that I can make it to a training just to sit there and be like, okay.
Yeah. Even if you just come, I tell ladies all the time, even if you just want to come sit and listen and watch, and you'd be surprised what you learn just by, and I think I told that to you yesterday, you're just listening and watching, you'll learn. Even if you're not physically doing it, obviously we always want you hands-on, but you'd be surprised what you'll learn just by watching other people and listening to the information.
I was very impressed yesterday. Very impressed by all three of you guys, and the way y'all dealt with class yesterday. I mean, I definitely plan to go back for more. So
good.
So
we look forward to it. We're pretty passionate about what we do.
Oh, you can definitely. You can tell, and that's why. I mean, that's why I'm typically a pretty tough person, and then you realize you're not. And so to find a class like this to kind of help bring you back to that is really awesome.
Yeah. Very cool.
Very much so. So I'm gonna let Jessie have it.
Okay, we want to do a run through real quick.
Yeah,
or
we can.
Just in it. Okay.
Yeah. So did he jump out?
No. I have Nope, he's still here.
I'm still here.
Oh,
yeah. Dave, after when we go off air, because I have some questions for you.
Okay.
But make sure that we ask him.
Where can people find you at?
Thank you.
Okay. Well, probably the easiest way is we have a website, which is freedomdefensetraining.com. And then, of course, we're on social media on Facebook under Freedom Defense Training and Instagram at Freedom Defense Training. And always share information and photos and all kinds of stuff on there.
Very cool.
Definitely.
Okay, so we are going to go ahead and wind things down for the evening. Let's run through the panel one last time. Let's start with Stacey. What you got going on this week?
Oh, not too much. Going back to work and now doing some research on self-defense here in, around Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Me too. I've been looking at some places here in Michigan, but yeah, very cool. How about you, Armintha?
I have lots of things going on. Well, since I've been without electricity since yesterday, yesterday I went and picked up my my Banshee. So I have a new pistol that I get to play with eventually this week, but I'll have grandbabies at least one day, and then I go back to work tomorrow. So I have lots of things, and I was supposed to be dropping videos, but I didn't have internet until a few minutes ago when our lights came back on.
That's always a good thing. At least they came back on.
Yes, so keep an eye out for my stuff. I mean, y'all know I try to keep my stuff coming. I've been trying to drop a new video about at least every 3 days or so, because I still have lots of videos.
Very cool. Thank you for joining us tonight, Ray. What all do you have going on that you would like to share with our subscribers?
Well, just a lot of training and consulting going on. But if any of you ladies in your areas that you live need resources, please email us or reach out, because we're in a network of trainers across the country. I'm also a bodyguard instructor, so I'm networked with a lot of people out there that are legitimate training resources. So if I could help with that, please email us or reach out to us. And other than that, looking forward to, we have a kids outdoor skills camp coming up in June that I always love teaching. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
Very cool.
What about you, Jessie?
For me, we have quite a few changes in the next coming weeks, hopefully. Hopefully we will have better internet, more reliable internet. Solid internet would be just absolutely wonderful. Other than that, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get a bunch of these videos released, since our internet right now doesn't really want to hold up. But yeah, just trying to get a bunch of this stuff recorded at least. That's pretty much my week. Thank you everybody for joining us. If you're new to GunGals, we would like to invite you to like our Facebook page. We are also on Instagram. Real quick, a huge shout out to Gun Channels. If you haven't yet, check it out. Gun Channels is an online 2A community where we can share and connect with other like-minded members. We stream live there as well as here every Sunday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have you heard of GunStreamer? We're over there too. It's awesome. Go check them out. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of GunGals Live. Next week is going to be awesome. We would love your input for what content you would like to see from our live show and for the rest of our channel. You can share your thoughts and ideas, or just send us some love at info@gun-gals.com. Thank y'all, and we'll see y'all on the next video.